Perrier and Nestlé doing about these problems?
So it's not that Perrier has suspended production. It suspended one of its wells when it was found to have contaminants, fecal contaminants. And apart from that, it's come up with some longer-term solutions, which is to overhaul its production, to modernise. They've invested around 150 million euros to get things going so that you're sort of cleaning through the pipes and you don't have contaminants involved. They're also encouraging organic farming rather than pesticide farming. That's been the case for a long time. That's all on the good side of what they've been doing. I think kind of on the bad side is that in 2020, when they realised internally they had a change in management, they realised that Perrier was being cleaned using illegal methods, charcoal and UV filtering. They're illegal for mineral water because it's supposed to be almost untouched. They didn't tell the public. They kind of, behind the scenes, negotiated with regulators and did all of the stuff behind the scenes. And earlier this year, it all kind of came to the fore in a leaked report.
What does this mean for Nestlé? What is Nestlé doing about it? Nestlé's the owner.
Nestlé is the owner, and its water business, even Perrier plus some other brands, isn't a huge proportion of its sales. It's only about 3.5%. So it's not huge in that sense. But I think it's a reputational issue because Nestlé's had its problems with reputation. We had the infant formula scandal that started in the 1970s. More recently, there were really tragic cases in France of E. coli contamination in a frozen pizza. So for Nestlé, it's about how do we get the trust back of consumers. And, we know that Mark Schneider, the former CEO, was ousted in August. So some might look at this and say, there are operational execution issues at Nestlé.
And what about the sustainability of the water business overall? I mean, as people think about sustainability more and trying to use bottled water less in some areas, is this seen as a growth category?
Yes, it's a really big growth category because it's seen as a healthy drink. It's definitely better than sugary sodas. But reporting on this question came up time and time again, particularly if you're in France and you're having to filter water because, of contaminants and because of particularly climate change making those worse because you either have droughts or you have torrential rain. And then you're sending that water to the other side of the globe. They've had this product called Maison Perrier, which makes no secret of filtering because it's not a mineral product. And you sort of wonder, should all that water be packaged up in plastic that can sometimes leach into the water and get all these carbon miles being sent to the other side of the world? And I think that's the fundamental question and an existential threat, perhaps, for the industry as a whole.